Despite very obvious, I'm not gonna say very obvious, that's kind of mean. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Monica and Mono, and in this video I will be reviewing the album Gold. This is the second album by Riki, also known as Sniff Nawar. Hopefully I said that right, but they are from Crimson Scarlet fame. They released their first self-titled album in 2020, which I like to think as the music equivalent of a Retroid filter. It's a nostalgic 80s style synth pop album with the production sensibility of Kate Bush and songwriting that at times hints at Susie and the Banshees. And sonically, there's just this overall very nostalgic haze that just is glossed over this album in a very interesting way. This resulted in a lot of decent melodies and mature songwriting despite the drastic change of style from their death rock days. Some of the tracks with the best songwriting, in my opinion, were Napoleon and No, but we also get good variety in this album with some structured pop tracks like Earth Song and some more deconstructed tracks with more eccentric production choices like Come Inside. So as a result, Riki was an album I definitely enjoyed very much despite some room for some more dramatic breakthroughs and overall dynamics, so that was what I was hoping to get out of Gold. But I feel like I got just a little bit of that, or at the very least, the most I could get regarding the direction that was taking on this album. Compared to Riki, this album is a lot more delicate and mature and with a slight new romantic approach, which is not a total far cry from the dancier and almost Italo disco sound from Riki, but the trajectory taken on this record still came a bit as a surprise. That being said, Gold is similar to Riki regarding some of the instrumental choices and the nostalgic aura of Niv's vocal melodies, along with the expanding of a few unique cuts on Riki like No, with its sultry and dramatic chorus, which is a similar sound that is explored more on tracks like Viktor, Florence and Selena, and It's No Secret. Viktor is a slow and airy track that is guided by very subtle synths and dreamy guitars, which results in a very subtle chorus. However, the chorus still manages to interject the verses right as they're about to start to feel a little monotonous in their melody. The dynamics are truly in the percussion choices, which also provide good texture, and I feel like the poetic lyrics were meant to shine on here, and the track did manage to allow that. Florence and Selena is the closing track that also carries this similar structure of a subtle but effective chorus thanks to the higher pitched but gentle vocal performance and shimmering guitars. It is a slower track that starts out with a great horn section, but then projects this kind of optimism once the chorus starts. And it definitely gave me the Working Hour by Tears for Fears. It's no secret, probably has the slowest and most sensual beat, but it was kind of a mixed bag for me. We get some breathy vocals in the intro that alternate with some suspenseful delayed synths. We also get some horns later on, which only adds to the vibe. It was mostly the chorus on this track that didn't do it for me. It seemed very one-dimensional with these repetitious falsetto vocals. It really recalled the vocals on Goldfrapp's You Never Know, but a lot less interesting. The rest of the track after the second chorus also started to drag and feel a little aimless. Another mixed bag was Last Summer, which actually had great instrumental arrangement. The track is breezy but upbeat, and there was always something to keep your interest in the beat. There were also bubbly synths and groovy bass lines, but the chorus was also underwhelming for me. It started out okay, and I thought that I could feel where it was going, but then it just kind of fell off on the final line. I have a similar critique for the track Sonar. I loved the harsher synths and more aggressive percussion on it. It really gave me those Kate Bush vibes that I got from the self-titled album, but the chorus was barely distinguishable. It almost sounded like a pre-chorus or a second verse. The beat and vocals did not diverge enough from from the verses to make me look forward to the rest of the track. So those were the tracks that showcased most of my issues with Gold. The most enjoyable tracks were mostly in the first half of the record, actually. However, I was not prepared for how poppy the first two songs on this album were. Low is an opening track which overall represented the album pretty well. I enjoyed the dichotomy of the harsher beat with the softer vocals in the verses. The beat and hollow sounding synth gave me a bit of a Depeche Mode vibe. The melody and the chorus did feel a bit derivative of something I would hear from like a pop song in like the late 90s, early 2000s. However, the vocal performance is undeniably energetic and matches the vitality of the instrumental. Marigold is the following track and my favorite on this record. The pacing on this track is pop perfection. And that is not just my opinion, that is just an undeniable fact. And like most tracks on this record, the percussion is perfectly arranged to drive home every line. I enjoyed the back and forth of the female and male vocals in the verses, and the pre-chorus is short and effective. The lush guitars accent the verses very well and creates a contrast with the faster momentum of the chorus, which is literally the biggest earworm of probably the next 5 years. The past 5 and the next 5 years. The synths are bright and playful, while the melodies are ever so slightly forlorn. Its melody and chord progressions also remind me a lot of Spanish pop groups like Mecano and La Oreja de Van Gogh. I don't know if that was intentional considering the cover on this album, Porque Te Vas, which I think was very well incorporated into the album. The warmth of the famous bass line along with the synth choices helped keep the organic feel of the original, while the percussion choices kept the same instrumental palette of the album. They modernized the track with simple vocal effects and a subtle synth that sounds like the morning sun is slowly rising as the sunlight engulfs the bedroom of your Spanish bungalow and you wake up to an unexpected empty spot on your bed. This resulted in a more surreal sounding version of the song, and I think overall it was very well executed. However, Oil and Metal was a track I enjoyed while it was probably the most eccentric when it comes to its instrumental choices. It has a more metallic texture and features some quirky synths. There's also sharp vocal splices that are used for some interesting dynamics. There were some catchy spoken vocal melodies in the verses and more melodic vocals in the chorus. The only thing was that it seemed a bit disassembled and lacked some song structure. I feel that the song might have been more useful towards the end of the album, which leads to my final critique, which is the pacing of this album. I don't think it helped having the more underwhelming tracks such as Sonar, Last Summer, and It's No Secret back to back, especially considering these tracks also took a hit in the songwriting department, especially in the choruses. However, what really helps this album out is its pristine engineering. There is no denying this album sounds beautiful, which is a very difficult balancing act when paying homage to the 80s, but I still got a little bit of that signature nostalgic warmth that I had with the self-titled, especially on tracks like Florence and Selena and Viktor. So despite my issues with this album, I think Riki is a force to be reckoned with, and I will continue to look forward to anything they put out. I kept going back and forth between a 6 and 7 on this album, but I think I'm going to go through with a 7 out of 10. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like. If you would like to see more content like this, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I will continue to be posting music and album reviews, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Also, leave a comment to let me know your opinion on this album. Let me know if you disagree or agree with me. You know,